a basic wire wrapping technique that involves two types of wires, and I call this the framing wire wrapping technique. And what it is it involves a frame of thicker wire and then a thinner wire that's going around encaging the stone or found object, whatever it is that you're trapping within there. So that's one example. Here's another example. All the same technique, just looks different because I gauge my design off of the shape of the stone and what happens when like the lines go past, or I'm using the wire as a line within the design itself. So what I do is I will pick a piece, a found object that I'd like to use. And so for this example, I got shells, I got bones, wood, I got a pod. I'm gonna use this because it's larger and I feel like you'll be able to see it. This is a found rock. And I'm gonna place all the other stuff along the side here so we don't have to worry about those. And so for the first thing that I do is I draw around and trace my design, or I'm sorry, my rock or whatever it is that I'm going to be wire wrapping. And so I use that as a guide. So once I have that, I know that I'm gonna be making a frame, and I want that frame to be a little bit larger because I like the beautiful negative space that's created along the edge. So see how there's like negative space and it looks like that rock is somewhat floating. So I like that aesthetic. So what I do is I remove this and I set it aside. And now I'm gonna draw it a little bit darker to make sure you can see it. Kind of looks like a state or something. Okay, so I have this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my thicker piece of wire, and for this one, I have just a piece of bronze that's thicker. And then my thinner wire, you all got, is the thinnest wire I'm gonna use, the thinnest gauge, 22 gauge. So for this, I'm gonna start somewhere at the top. And what I do is I start with making a loop. So I'm gonna take my pliers. Now, there's a lot of different pliers you can use. I could only afford to give you guys one pair, so I apologize. I'm gonna use the same pair as you, and I'm going to create a loop. So I kind of have a hook, and now I'm gonna take that hook and I'm going to allow myself to create it crossed over. Now, I have it like this. I have to wrap this little tail around so that it stays. That's gonna act as my bail. The bail, to remind you, is the part of the necklace that attaches to a chain, like the loop at the top. So this takes a little bit of finesse, a little bit of time, and then I have something like that, okay? Now, from there, I'm just gonna shape it a little bit how I want. That is gonna act as the top of my design. So from there, I'm gonna take my pliers, I'm gonna use my pliers. I use my pliers to support it, and I make bends. That's how I kinda use the pliers. So I have my first bend. So I'm gonna come around down this way first. I'm gonna bend my wire so it's not in the way. And so I'm coming down, coming down, coming down, and then I make marks. I hold the wire where I want to make another bend. And I make a bend. And I'm taking my time, and so far I have this. All right? So I'm a little bit on the outside of this line because I want there to be like a nice little negative space. So I kind of keep coming down my drawing, keep lining it up. I know it's hard for you to see. And then I get to the part where I make the nice little rounded spot at the bottom. And so I kind of use my pliers to finesse a little loop at the bottom. And I'm checking out, am I doing all right still? Yeah, I'm okay. I don't like that shape exactly. So I'm gonna open it up a little bit more, and then it gets sharper here. So I'm really paying attention to the contour line, which is the outline of my rock. In this case, it's a rock. Now here, it loops up and goes at an opposite curve. So once I get my bend in that way, I can use my pliers to help me. I'm gonna bend it out. So this is what I have so far. Okay. I'm still working on it, still working my way down. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Now I'm gonna bend it. So every time I find a corner, I hold that corner with my pliers and I bend with my hands. This is a technique that all of you could do if you like this technique. I tend to like this one, but there are so many different wire wrapping techniques out there that I don't want to limit you to one. Okay, so now I'm making my way back up to the top. Can you see where I'm at here? I kind of have this outline. Now your wire's gonna get bendy and things like that, and that's kind of annoying. So I'm gonna come up to the top, and now I need to finish this off. So what I do is I take the tail, here's my loop at the top again, and I'm gonna bend it just like I did at the beginning. So I'll do that real quick, but carefully. And then I'm gonna cut off the excess. Now your little cutters are in here, so it's a little bit harder to cut. So make sure you cut it before you have it all the way bent down, or you won't be able to get your pliers in there. So I'm gonna cut this off. Gotta press kind of hard. And then I'm gonna finish my loop. Now the trick with wire wrapping, we don't have a lot of tools with us, so be careful with the sharp edges. You wanna try to find a way to hide those so that your skin, when you're wearing this, isn't getting bumped into with these sharp edges. So you wanna kind of curl them behind one another or tuck them